Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned in to NB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, debate heating up in the religious community over the proposed legalization of gambling in the Bahamas. Meantime, police explain why the illegal operations continue to thrive. Several face murder charges in court today, plus reaction from the opposition on the statutory board appointments. It's the eve of another Independence Day. We've got those stories and much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and W12 starts right now. Welcome once again to NB12. The man at the center of the gambling controversy has confirmed that he's received money from at least one web shop. Reverend Philip Mcphee out of Mount Calvary Baptist Church has come under heavy fire since he and a group of pastors met with web shop owners last week. Today, he admitted that a web shop has been sponsoring his boat in various regattas for years. He also hit back at his critics, calling them out of touch with humanity. Bonnie Toot reports.
Reverend Philip Mcphee has been heavily criticized by members of the religious community after he revealed that he has become sensitized to the benefits of web shops. But today he fired back, saying that some religious leaders are so busy living lavish lifestyles that they have become out of touch. He added that the church has been silent on far more pressing issues for years now, but all of a sudden some pastors are coming out condemning him.
Every pastor should find out information so that they can inform their congregation on what is happening and what to do if this referendum comes. That is our role as pastors. So I don't know what the big issue is, and I'm somewhat saddened that they did it that way, because they could have called me and we could have talked. If we are supposed to be brethren in the Lord, why would you have to attack me openly?
Mcphee stirred up controversy last week Tuesday when he arranged a meeting between a group of pastors and web shop owners. Following that meeting, he argued that numbers houses contribute to our country in many ways, adding that one web company has given over $1 million to fund various cultural events and programs. Mcphee admitted to NB12 that he too has benefited from a web shop's generosity. He revealed that a web shop has been sponsoring his boat in various regattas for more than a decade. Bahamas Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson says that's no secret.
Oh yes, I don't hide that. You see, I'm not a pastor who get things underneath the table. I don't run from the position. And sponsorship of my boat has not just been today or yesterday. My boat has been sponsored over 10 years.
By web shops?
Yes. Nearly 15 years.
So how much money would you say you've been sponsored over the past decade from web shops?
I really don't know, but I can tell you it's been a good amount.
His boat is sponsored by one of the web shop, so he has a right to say whatever he wants to say. This is a free country. We have a right to speak, and nothing surprises me anymore.
Reverend Patterson says Mcphee's argument over web shops' contributions to various groups holds no water.
There are drug dealers who would tell you the same thing, that they've made contributions to communities, to jungle groups, I'm even sure to regattas. But is it right? That's the question. Is it right? And my answer is no.
Though the two men's personal views on web shops differ, here's one thing they do agree on. Like Patterson, Mcphee says he will be voting against the legalization of gambling whenever a referendum is held.
My position has not changed. It was always that the church stands against it. But that's my personal opinion. But the people of the Bahamas have to decide that. Even these moral majority and even the Christian Council cannot tell the Bahamas what to do. They could hold a position, they could state their position, they could state what what the Bible says, or they could state what their personal opinion may be, but it's the people's decision. The people of the Bahamas elected the PLP as government, and half of them who said they didn't want that. But it happened. It's the people's position.
Reverend Mcphee says some people have criticized him, but far more people are supporting him. And those are the voices he will continue to listen to. Reporting for NB12, I'm Veronique Jude.
Well, Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson says the church will do everything in its power to encourage Bahamians to vote against the legalization of gambling and the establishment of a national lottery. That means going on talk shows, holding meetings with the public, preaching the dangers of gambling during their sermons, and even erecting billboards. However, he questions if the government has the fortitude to actually shut down web shops if most Bahamians vote against gambling.
If the government is serious about making a difference in our country, shut them down. If you have the power to shut them down now. Take it to a referendum, and whatever happens, do what you have to do. Because, honestly, and sometimes I think we are wasting our time. The government has the power right now to legislate whatever they want to. They have the majority. They have the power to do it. Now, if the Bahamian people vote against this, which I'm praying that they do, are they going to be able to shut them down? And they can't do it now?
Reverend Patterson says he does not believe numbers houses should be allowed to pay national insurance contributions because technically they are illegal businesses. He says the government should shut them down now and only allow them to reopen if most Bahamians vote in favor of them. The Christian Council president is also challenging the 38 members of parliament to make their positions on gambling known.
You can perhaps get a list of the 38 candidates or members of parliament and see where they stand. You do a roll call to see where each and every one of them stand, and then the people in their constituency will know where they stand. Because I don't want them to hide behind this referendum and say the people did it when the majority of them in power perhaps has the same feeling and feel as if it's okay. Because if you feel as if it's okay, do what you got to do. Don't waste our time, don't waste our money.
Well, We Care is a coalition of web shops that plans to spend $1.5 million on its campaign. Reverend Patterson says that doesn't matter because the church has the power of the Holy Spirit. Meantime, the question still remains of how illegal operations are allowed to continue their existence openly in the Bahamas. We put the question to Assistant Commissioner of Police Hewlin Hanna today.
It's been about 3 years since any major raids on illegal web shops were reported by police. In April 2009, police conducted raids on 2 businesses suspected of being involved in illegal gaming, during which massive amounts of money and gambling equipment were seized. 20 people were also arrested in those raids. Following that, a string of other raids were conducted over the following 2 months, resulting in FML CEO Craig Flowers pleading not guilty to the charges of promoting a lottery and permitting his web shop to be used for the purpose of conducting a lottery. Not much has happened in the area of raids on alleged gambling houses since then. Today, Assistant Commissioner of Police Hewlin Hanna said just because raids haven't taken place doesn't mean police aren't taking stock of the illegal activity in communities where these web shops are established. He added that while police are law enforcers, they must work in tandem with what is prevailing in society.
I don't say that from a weak point of view, because someone then would postulate and say, well, Mr. Hanna, if you're saying that, then you're saying then that we should allow people to rob, we should allow people to do. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something more fundamental, and it's that we are satisfied that this whole issue of gambling is coming to a head at some point before the end of this year. And within reason, we feel as if we need to be mindful of that and to work towards whatever that would eventually become.
Hanna is referring to the government's pledge to hold a referendum on the controversial gambling issue. He said after that, the force can determine once and for all how the issue is to be dealt with. In the interim, Hanna said he believes police who aren't actually actively and consistently stopping the illegal activity are taking the right stance on illegal numbers houses.
That isn't to say that the commissioner does not have the energy or the force does not have the wherewithal to do the work. But we're satisfied as a police force that what we're doing now in regard to, and I'm not spinning here, Paige, but what we're doing now in regard to the whole issue of gambling, we're satisfied that given what is prevailing in the Bahamian society regarding gambling. We're satisfied that the posture this police force has taken is the correct and appropriate one at this time.
Hannah again added that police are being mindful of what is happening in various communities and that at any time they could execute their authority.
Let's have no qualms about it. The police force is not powerless to do its job, but by the same token, we are extremely cognizant and mindful of what is prevailing in the Bahamian society. Beyond that, I do not know that we need to comment on that any further.
If convicted of facilitating a lottery or being on the premises where a lottery is taking place, an accused person can face a fine of up to $5,000 or up to 2 years in prison or both.
In other news tonight, 4 people were charged with 2 separate murders today as prosecutors scrambled to have the cases heard at the South Street Court Complex because the air conditioning failed this afternoon. Our Charisma Robinson has more.
39-year-old Charles Babbs of East Street, seen on your TV screen wearing a striped shirt and jeans, was today charged with the July 6 murder of Kelsey Johnson. According to police reports, 2 men got into an altercation when Johnson was allegedly struck to the head with an object. Johnson was the country's 70th murder victim. Babbs, who was represented by attorney T. Langton Hilton, was not required to enter a plea to the charge when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Roger Gomez in Court Number 1. Meantime, 2 men and 1 juvenile were charged with the murder of 47-year-old Owen Rose. Police say Rose was fatally shot back on June 3rd on Washington Street. 19-year-old Livingston Woodside of Homestead Street and a 16-year-old boy of Fleming Street were charged with Rose's murder today. The 2 were also charged along with 34-year-old D'Angelo Knowles, seen on your screen wearing the white t-shirt and blue jeans, with conspiracy to commit murder. On a separate court docket, Woodside was also charged with armed robbery and receiving. Prosecutors say on July 3rd, he robbed Glenville Mackey of a Ford truck, a cellular phone, and $270 cash. Woodside, Knowles, and the juvenile were not required to enter a plea to the charges.
Now the men were all remanded to Her Majesty's prison. Babbs will have to return to court on November 7th when a voluntary bill of indictment will be served on him. Knowles, Woodside, and the juvenile will have to return to court on November 20th when they will also be served with a voluntary bill of indictment. Reporting for NB12, I'm Charisma Robinson.
Police are reporting 2 home invasions overnight in which, in each instance, the burglars reportedly shot one of the occupants. Police say 2 men broke into a home in Seabreeze at around 2:30 this morning. When the sleeping homeowner, a 32-year-old man, was awakened by the noise, he went out to check things out and was confronted by the 2 burglars who shot him. The same thing happened about half an hour later at a home on Bacardi Road where the 38-year-old occupant was also shot. Both are in stable condition in hospital, but the burglars got away, and police are asking anyone with information on these 2 latest crimes to contact them. You can call the Central Detective Unit at 502-9991 or 9910 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS.